Dr. Morosky.
Dr. Sarah.
Say it again, I could get used to that.
Can you tell he just graduated?
That's pretty good.
Now that's how you do an intro. My name's Chris Morosky. I work at the University of Connecticut. I want to thank you guys for coming out today. I'll let Matt introduce himself.
Sure. Hi, my name is Matthew Serra. I'm a resident at Mayo Clinic, Jacksonville. I'm also from University of Connecticut. That's where we met. We actually collaborated on a video together ourselves. We have a tradition at UConn called the Gong Show. It's an annual comedy show. So students submit mostly videos, although there are some live acts, which ironically get recorded anyways. And so I asked Dr. Morosky to play a Tony Stark-like character for an Avengers parody. And so you'll be seeing some clips of that. And yeah, that's how it all started for us.
And so my background in this, because I've got a good decade on Matt, is when I first graduated, laparoscopy was a pretty cool thing, and people were just starting to make laparoscopic videos, so I thought that I would give a try at editing some laparoscopy videos. If you go on my YouTube channel, I've left them there in the original form. You can't tell what surgery I'm actually doing. There's no music, there's no titles, they're horrendous. Following this, we had our resident graduation one night, and so as part of a roast, I made a video for that, which started to build in a little bit of music and some words. And then after doing our Avengers parody with Matt, I really learned a whole bunch of great tricks. And since then, I've been making videos for my presentations. I do not give a presentation anymore without putting at least a little video in it. Because it's just got some great qualities to engage your audience, something that you can keep, and actually the message that you want to give you can form before you even get there. So what we hope to do today is just go over, well, here, first of all, we have to, both of us have nothing to disclose, obviously, just by looking at us.
Wait, you swear you don't have any skeletons in the closet there?
I use a Mac, he uses a PC.
Yeah.
We've got Sony products, so we don't work for anybody. This is just stuff that we bought that works for us. We're not attached to anything. And like I had said before, if you would please give us your email addresses, we're very happy to share with you all the videos today and then the video we're going to make of this video. So this is basically the outline that we're going to go through. We hope to be engaging. We're going to kind of jump back and forth, so forgive us the technical glitch of switching stuff around, but we're going to do some PowerPoint slides, a lot of videos, and then at the very end we're going to actually be on our computers and do a little bit of live stuff right here just to show you how easy it is, even though it might be a little grainy, but that's all right. But we just want to show you exactly what we're talking about. So Matt is going to show you a brief clip of, actually no, I was going to show, I'm sorry, here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So this is our submission for APGO CREOG that's happening in 2 months, and this is basically a video that we made on a diagnostic cystoscopy model, and what I wanted to show you here is how we use some picture-in-picture in this one.
The instructor then performs a demonstration of diagnostic cystoscopy using the model. The instructor reviews introduction of the cystoscope into the bladder, locating the air bubble at the dome of the bladder, a systematic survey of the bladder, and finding the ureteral orifices.
All right, so that's something you can do on like a Tuesday night. Matt's going to show you something that you could do on, say, Friday night.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to show them the pacifiers video? All right. So this is a for Ha-Ha's video that I was just alluding to previously. It basically integrates all the tools and tricks we're going to teach as part of this lecture.
Do you require a face shield?
I brought my own. Forceps, we're gonna try for a VBAC.
Sir, that procedure is highly contraindicated.
Watchers, remind me to write you a program for excitement sometime. Can somebody put on my Pandora station? All the screaming is getting distracting.
Getting back together, you go talk to your friends, talk to my friends, talk to me. But we are never, ever, ever.
So that's a little comedy for the medical students. And then the last one I want to show you here is we had a cancer survivors evening, and one of our GYN oncologists who's really into theater and ballet puts this together and has done this for 10 years, and it's a wonderful evening. But this year we sort of engaged him to do a dance video. He's not well known for his dancing skills.
Robotic surgery, chemotherapy, tiny young, hey, treatment plan, hey, Bossy 125, negative PET CT, feeling better, hey, back to your family, hey, we can get you back to where you wanna be. New Britain, Gynok style. Gynok style. That's just a little flavor of what we sort of want to show you to be able to do today. And with what we're going to show you, you'll be able to put together these type of videos. It's pretty straightforward. You have to practice. It takes some time, but it's definitely something that if you find it as a hobby, you can really use to do great educational stuff. All right, so I think the way this goes, I get the camera. Okay, so here's cameras, and the reason that I get to do camera is because back when I started shooting film, we had tape. And then the tape got smaller, and then when I got into laparoscopy videos early on, we had these little spinning discs, and those were just such a nightmare. And finally, Matt comes along and says, you know, they make video cameras with a built-in hard drive nowadays, and it's really made things so much easier. You don't have to finalize your discs, you don't have to worry about where your discs are. It's on your camera, you can download it, and you can put it directly into your computer. These cameras shoot really great quality size, where FX is the best. I've actually got mine now set on HQ, which is standard, just because I need more time.
Did you go through that?
Yeah, so FX, so all of those are HD settings, and they have to do not with pixels. Pixels has to do with your lens and your camera itself. It has to do with how many lines per inch. So you may, when you're doing your computer resolution, notice things like 1280 by 980, or you can drop down to 470 by something less than that, and it changes the screen on your computer. That's exactly what these are referring to. It's lines per square inch, and we're going to actually go into that a little bit when we talk about video files. But basically just know that the higher end you are with quality, the more memory it takes up, the faster you're going to burn through your hard drive. The lower end you are with quality, the more information you can store, but the more grainy it's going to appear when you have to work with it. And when you transfer files in between cameras and computers and YouTube, you lose information, you lose quality. So if you really want to have great quality in your final videos, you want to shoot at the highest settings for quality with the biggest amount of memory, and then dice it up on your computer and sort of get rid of it when you're done with it.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. One problem that I've encountered when using the dinosaurs that we have encountered sometimes at our respective establishments is that you need to scale down some of the quality so they'll play without being choppy. So what you do is you try to get the best source material and then scale it back to like 720. So even though you have high resolution, it's less for the computer to digest, so to speak. And so that'll make it so, for instance, if you want to embed the video in a PowerPoint, that'll make it so it's seamless. Otherwise, it can get choppy, the computer could freeze, things like that.
And again, if this is you've got some kind of advanced question there. For those who haven't used this a lot, the more quality, the more memory, the more you can have better resolution. The lower the quality, the worse, the more grainy your pictures are, but the more you can store. Okay? And sort of like all this stuff, you do have to spend some time, like your iPhone, you can use your iPhone a lot better if you read the manual. You can use your computer better if you have to read the manual with the computer. I didn't read the manual for this thing, so I don't know if this is actually going to work. We bought this last night.
It's going to work.
Okay, so tripod.
Okay. All right, so the biggest thing for educational videos is you don't want it looking like Paranormal Activity. So you want things to be stable. A tripod is a good investment if you're going to do a lot of these. Otherwise, I've shot videos where basically we MacGyver the whole setup and we just have the camera on a bunch of books, because nobody tends to read those anymore. Yeah, we just do that. Otherwise, you can actually some tripods. You can detach the top, so you have kind of like a gyroscope. So if you want to handheld things, you get less of the motion artifact. So definitely something to invest in. I got mine on a Black Friday deal. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're about $40, $50. The ones here are about $40, $50. They're worth it. You can also do solo shots. The long movie we're going to show you, I shot by myself in my tripod because nobody wanted to hang out with me. All right, so same thing with computers. If you bought your computer in 1997, you're probably not going to have enough memory, enough processing speed to deal with the size of these files, so you do need to buy a newer computer. This is I finally broke my old Mac. This is the newer one, but the ones generations before this are fine. Most newer PCs are fine. We're not attached to either one, but you do need something with enough memory to store these large files and with enough processing speed if you're going to overlay all these different tracks when you're editing your video. In terms of software, all Macs come with iMovie and GarageBand built into them, and so I'm going to show that to you because that's what I use. Yeah. Matt's going to show you a little bit about Vegas Pro because that's what he uses. Mm-hmm. The short answer is don't go out and buy the most expensive video processing software that's out there because you don't know how to use it. These basic things allow you to do really great movies, and so you don't need to go purchase Final Cut Pro until you become a master of iMovie. That's sort of like advanced iMovie for the Mac. And you don't need to go purchase Adobe Premiere Pro until you've mastered Vegas Pro. And so start little, master it, and if at some point you want laser beams to come out of everybody's eyeballs in space, you can purchase these other software packages. But it'll take you kind of years to get there, and you can do great quality with what's on these computers as is.
All right, so audio has been personally my Achilles heel because, for instance, we're in an environment that we really can't control and we don't have time to set up. But audio is something that could make pretty much make or break any educational video. The rule of thumb is you want to essentially swallow the mic. So, for instance, when we record this, when we upload this to YouTube, we're not going to be using the audio files from the camcorders because it's going to be very grainy, it's going to be very tinny. You basically want a stereo digital recorder right here as close to the source as possible. Ideally, we would have tie mics, but we couldn't bring those today. It's also important. I don't think any of you guys will be doing this for an educational video, but try not to film outside. It's awful for background noise. And if you have to, there are things called wind screens that you can basically put over. It looks kind of like an afro that you put over the microphone. But again, swallow the mic. Try not to film. Try not to record outdoors.
And lastly, putting in photos is great, or stills. This is actually a nice thing to do with your family photos. You can make a movie that sort of moves around the photos, maybe comes in and out with a little bit of video footage from your family that you shot with your iPhone. In fact, nowadays the new iPhones video and pictures are such good quality you can make movies easily off of that too. So if that's sitting on your phone and you wanted to make something nice for a holiday or for a birthday or for a wedding, you've really got everything in your phone and your computer.
We actually just compared that last night. So Dr. Morosky, you have an iPhone 5, and we shot some video while we were picking up our equipment. And as long as it's not zoomed in, it basically looks the same as long as there's a decent light source. And the microphone is fantastic. So that could be your camera for all intents and purposes.
And the last thing is you play around with pausing your video as you're creating it. taking a picture of the screen of the still, you can actually pull that out, and this works really good for laparoscopy videos. You can pull it out as a still, you put it into PowerPoint, and then you can label the anatomy. And I've seen this before, and it works great. You can have it actually show up to say ureter, uterus, if there's complicated anatomy, and then you can create a few PowerPoint slides that you put back into your video, and these things start to show up sort of like you have the film footage, there's a nice pause that's smoothly built in, the anatomy is labeled, and then you proceed with the surgery. That's one of the award-winning presentations from AAGL last year, and she had sort of mastered that and showed me that trick, and it looks really cool when you do that with your surgical videos. So I think we are going to go into video files, and I can already feel we're sort of PowerPointing fatiguing you, so we're going to go into video files, and then we're going to click over to a nice 10-minute video that's very educational, but it's got enough ha-ha to it that you should stay awake. So this one goes to, I think, me. So this is what we were getting at before, okay, in terms of size. Now, way back in the Bill Clinton era, I believe, TVs went to, like, from these guys, you know, the little rabbit ears, to cable coming into your house. And then if you recall recently, the Congress basically told everybody, you've got to convert to digital. I'm sorry, it's 2012. Wake up, right? We all had that in your house, or you had to buy that weird converter for your rabbit ears if you still had that. Well, that's sort of right around where HD came from, okay? And so HD is high definition, and what we all think of it as high definition nowadays on our TV sets is at least 1280 by 720, okay? And that's really, it's horizontal lines per square inch. And so we're all used to seeing 1280 by 720, but if you go back to 480 by 272, that's still technically high def. It's just that if you go to watch a YouTube video and somebody shot at 480 by 272, you'd probably stop watching it because you've become accustomed to clarity and good resolution. And in fact, when I bought this little guy right here, there's a new one now. It's like 1980 by something, and I just uploaded this video to YouTube on this. And so it's always pushing the resolution. It's just that what happens is it eats up space on your devices because these files are so massive. And the last point here, too, is every time you burn a video, you upload a video, you transfer between computers, you lose some of that information. And that's why you want to film stuff as big as possible, as high def as possible, on FX, on these higher resolutions.
There are a number of different types of files you can save your movie as. MP4 tends to work the best with iMovie. It also will work and play back on VLC Media Player, if you guys know of that. It's way better than Windows Media Player and plays almost every file extension. AVI is typically what I save as in Sony Vegas. I feel that it has a little bit more higher resolution for the settings. If the settings are same across the board, but otherwise, you just want to make sure that what the intended device you're going to play it on knows how to read this. So again, if you guys don't know about VLC Media Player for all the PC users around there, make sure you download it, because it's incredibly embarrassing to work for a month on one of these projects, premiere it, and it won't play.
You said what file type?
Basically, so I said that VLC Media Player can play all of those. So VLC Media Player.
If you saw the orange cone
Yeah.
that Matt played his video on, that was playing a VLC Media
Yeah.
Player.
So
that's
yeah.
sort of symbol on your laptop is an orange cone for like the street.
Yeah, but for instance, AVC, Windows Media Player will not read it without a specific plugin, and I still have not found that plugin, and I've been looking pretty hard. So.
And so, okay, so again, we sound like total nerds right now, and I appreciate that. So to boil this down for the cooler people in the audience, you really don't need to memorize what those files are specifically until you really get familiar with them. This plays on this and that. But when Matt and I were talking about going back and forth with our computers play different media files. QuickTime plays something different than iTunes, and so you need to think about what device you want to play things on. MP4 seems to be very universal, at least with YouTube. But when you're going back and forth between different devices, you may need to buy something that's a file conversion software, and that's something, if we have time at the end, I just want to show you a real simple one that I have for $20 that can convert between these different media files for you, so that if you take something and you try to play it doesn't work, you can convert it into the type of file that will work. Our cystoscopy hard drive gives me some file that's crazy. I don't even know what it's called, but I just convert it into MP4, and then I can put it directly into iMovie and work with it. Okay? And are we doing screenplays now? No. I think that's enough talking to you. And so at this point, we need some more videos.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think this is my video, right? On mine.
Yeah.
On my and these are hooked up. Great. And this is what I do with myself alone on Saturday nights.
Video editing for educational videos.
Hello, and thank you for taking the time to watch this educational video on, well, basically, educational videos. I'm Chris Morosky from the University of Connecticut School of Medicine. Over the next 10 minutes or so, I hope to provide you with enough information on how to get started filming and editing your own educational videos.
After watching this video, the viewer should be able to better understand the basic equipment required to pull off the project, the importance of a screenplay, an introduction to video file download and editing, incorporation of audio files and soundtracks, and advanced techniques such as transitions, titles, and picture-in-picture.
Even for the most early adopters, there are many uses for video editing. Whether it's converting dull PowerPoint slides into condensed videos that can be played on mobile devices, or editing your hours of robotic surgery footage into a nice 10-minute video with a little picture-in-picture built in.
Whether you are playing the role of an armored OBGYN superhero,
or really just want to do something special with all of those family videos that are building up on your computer's hard drive. Learning the basics of video editing can get you started on the exciting path of combining education with creativity in whatever way you see fit. It goes without saying that you're going to need a video camera. This is the video camera that I use nowadays. It's light, has built-in memory, a touchscreen flip screen, and a solid built-in microphone. Newer cameras also have longer battery life. Tripods are optional, but for $40 to $50 for a fairly decent tripod, they are worth the purchase. Lastly, you are going to need a modern computer. By modern, I mean a computer with enough memory to store your large video files and enough speed to process your video files overlaid with voiceovers, soundtracks, and transitions.
your computer is going to need video and audio processing software. Most new Macintosh computers come with iMovie and GarageBand built in for this. Since I am a Mac user, I am going to show off how to use these programs in this video.
Once you've finished reading the instruction manuals for all of your equipment, you're ready to start filming. If you're really serious about putting together a well-organized video, there's one more thing you really should do before you fire up your video camera.
Writing up a screenplay prior to filming helps give your video better continuity and flow. It also allows you to send exactly the message that you want your viewers to receive.
Shooting your scenes off a screenplay allows you to film based on location rather than storyline. This saves an incredible amount of time. Working from a script allows you to shoot your scenes the right way the first time.
The more information that you can put into the screenplay, the better. Write down how you envision the scene, background, angle, costumes, props, etc.
Okay, so now with a well-crafted screenplay in hand, we're ready to start filming. For effect, I'm going to show you 4 quick clips of raw footage that we're going to put together using some of the basic techniques that I'm about to show you to make an amusing short video.
No!
So you kind of have an impression of where we're going with this short video, but let's just see how we get there. Once you've shot your scenes, you need to download them to the computer.
If you have iMovie open when you connect your video camera, you can select which video files you would like to import. Each of the scenes are brought into a new event.
Each scene is an individual clip within this event. Events can be named and thought of as a repository of all of your clips. You then double-click on your clip to create a yellow border. You can drag the ends of the yellow border to select the exact part of the clip that you then drag into your project below. Your project contains the edited clips and is the actual movie that you will be making. Believe it or not, with just this little bit of video editing, you could make your first movie. However, I want to share with you another piece of software that can help you do audio recordings that you can use to do voiceovers for your videos. When you open GarageBand, you will want to select a new voice recording project. You will have to name it, and it will open with both male and female basic tracks. To record, gently click the red record button. When the sound clip is finished, again hit the red record button to stop recording. Once you have read all of your voice clips, save them to file. When you exit GarageBand, you want to make sure to save your audio file with an iLife preview, as this will allow you to open the audio file in iMovie. Returning to iMovie, you can select all of your GarageBand audio files by selecting GarageBand in the Content library. When you select an individual audio file, you will be able to see the details of the file in the event window. Just like with video files, you can select the exact part of the audio clip you want and then drag it into the project. Next, you will want to use the Adjust tool and select the audio icon for each clip. For a complete voiceover, you will want to drop the sound of your video clip to 0%. Lastly, I want to show you how to bring in some music as a soundtrack or background music. It works the same way as the GarageBand audio recordings, but instead you want to select iTunes from the Content library. Here you will have access to all of the music that you have stored on your computer in iTunes. Just like creating the audio clips before, you can select which part of the music file that you want to bring into the project by using the yellow border editing tool. Then you drag the clip down into the project. You are now on your way to creating an exciting new movie. Next, I would like to share with you some slightly more advanced techniques that will give your movie a little additional creativity. The first is, yep, that's right, transitions. The last two are called wipe left and wipe right. This one is called mosaic. And this one is called spin out. Transitions can be great, but you can definitely overdo them. You don't want your viewers getting transition fatigue. Also, transitions use up a lot of processing speed. If you use a lot of them with a video file that has voiceover and a soundtrack, you may notice things starting to get all jumbled up. To incorporate transitions into your movie, select Transitions from the Content library. Next, click and drag the transition that you like in between two video clips. You can adjust the duration of the transition by selecting the information icon under Adjust. Titles are another great way to add creativity to your video. Obviously, they're good for title scenes, but they're also very good for labeling anatomy with laparoscopy videos. You can make them appear in the right upper corner, sparkle across the middle of the scene, or come together in the middle of the scene, and then fly apart. Titles are also found in the Content library. Again, once you find the title that you are looking for, you simply drag it over the clip that you want it to appear on. Under Adjust, you can change the font type, size, color, and characteristics. Here is also where you will type in the words that you want displayed. Last but not least, I'd like to show you how to use picture-in-picture. This is great for laparoscopy and hysteroscopy videos. Here you can show the hands of the surgeon while at the same time watching the laparoscopy video. With the right adjustments, you can see the picture-in-picture video in the right upper corner or in the left lower corner. For picture-in-picture, you need two movie clips. The first clip will be the larger background clip that you drag into the project. Next, highlight and drag the second clip over the first. Under Adjust, you will want to select the video overlay settings. From the drop-down menu, select Picture-in-Picture. At this point, you can move the smaller picture to where you want it on the screen. You can also adjust the size. Well, that should just about do it. With all of this, you should be able to start making some pretty excellent videos. I'm going to leave you with a little cliffhanger. Here is the final edited version of all the little video clips that we've been using all along. Look for my next video on even more advanced techniques such as slow motion and video effects. Happy hunting! Alright, so one of the great things about putting videos into your presentations is you don't have to do anything for 10 minutes and you can just let your audience watch your video. But you can imagine, if you look into the slides I submitted earlier on, how boring it would be for me to kind of talk you through all that, or even if I show you on the screen. But when you shoot a video, you can kind of build a little humor into it, and you can also really script it and say exactly what you want to say, because sometimes you get up here and you just aren't finding the right words. With this, you get the right words every single time because you pick them and you film them and you edit them right in. So at everybody's table, I left you a copy of some of my screenplays from some of the movies that I filmed just this past year. And so just to go over the importance of a screenplay, I think this concept here really hit me the other night when I was putting this together was, Hollywood has been working off a screenplay for years. Why should we be any different? It's hugely boring. So the movie, the 10-minute video that you saw there, it took me 4 hours to write the screenplay. Gilberto, I think you're holding that screenplay. It's like 8, 9, 10 pages. You have to put as much time into writing your screenplays as you do your PowerPoint lectures for a presentation. It's really boring. You just want to go film sometimes, and that's fine. You can go film things like with your family. But if you want to do a real solid job of a nice continuity and really getting your message across in the educational video, writing a screenplay beforehand really helps you keep you organized and give the message that you want to give. Matt gets to talk about storyboarding, so I'll keep going. I don't know if I got into this because of college, but I did back in college really as just kind of a light and fluffy class, take a screenwriting class. And so I have my textbook here somewhere I kept it, and I don't know if that's where this interest came from. We didn't really have video cameras back then. It's not really writing a book. It's not writing for a theater on the stage. It's really writing for the video camera so that people can watch and have some emphasis on visual, but at the same time giving yourself some continuity and flow throughout your video. And a great example of a screenplay right here, my residents are always wanting more education on use of forceps, and so I want to shoot a few educational videos on just the basics of forceps, and so this is something that I'm working on now, but it's the scene where you write in all of the information that you can think of. Which forceps, where are they? Are they articulated, not articulated? And then what's the action of the camera? The camera's going to zoom in or zoom out, and then what's the voiceover at that point? And then it would cut over into a picture of an English lock kind of still. And so when you write all that stuff and then you go to film it, there's continuity instead of you have forceps that are articulated in one scene, not articulated in the other scene. Somebody's holding Elliott's, all of a sudden they're holding Simpsons, and then the viewer, because everybody's gotten so used to seeing good videos now, says, well, that was really terrible. You had fenestrated in that scene, all of a sudden you've got closed. I don't know, blades. I don't understand what's going on there. So this helps you stick with it. And then the other point I think right here is if you're going to bother actors and actresses to come show up for your video footages, and I bother my partner all the time, I bother the nurses, the medical students.
We both do.
If you're going to have them come in on the weekend to sort of like dress up in costumes and act like clowns, they just want to do that once. And so this video that I shot, the one you just saw, took me 4 hours with my tripod. And so there is some time commitment. Dr. Hoffman and his Gangnam Style video, that took us about 3 hours. But what we were able to do was go to each location even though it kind of goes all over the place with the story, we were able to go to each location in the hospital and film different halves of the story, but stay in one spot. And that made it be a lot shorter, but at the same time, it kept the continuity with the whole flow. Or when you saw what I was doing with sort of the transitions, I had sort of looked, I had to figure out which hand it was going to, was it going to be my left hand? Was it going to be my right hand? Which one goes up and down? And so if you plan that out beforehand and write it out very specifically, you'll actually get the effect that you're looking for.
So the other side of the same coin is storyboarding. So the screenplay is an organization of what to expect, but the storyboard is more a visual interpretation of what the screenplay has to say. So basically, that's also something you need to invest in when you are when you're making an educational video, and it also makes editing much faster because you know exactly what to put where. So again, it's a visual layout of the events. And it's a plan on how you want to present the visuals as well as some sounds. You can write those in as well to the viewer. And a good way to think about it as just it's a comic. And some artists are a little bit better than others. For instance, the video that we just shot last night, we did the screenplay and then we did the storyboard back to back, and we were able to film it in about an hour and a half. So if we just went by whatever idea popped into our head, we would never have made it in time. But that makes things very organized and very easy to film.
Okay, we're going to convert over here, and we're going to shoot something live. I want to show you how to do. We're going to show you how to do green screening real quick, very quickly, with our green screen that Matt was able to borrow from his AV department. But before we actually show you how it comes together, Matt's going to show you a great example of a green screen that he had done while I start setting up the camera.
Let's see. So, how many people are at an academic institution? Okay. So, do you guys, when you got your ID badges, did you happen to notice any equipment in that room, like a green screen or whatnot? Okay. Well, anyways, I've been in 3-4 different institutions, and they all had all the equipment in that room. So it's available, and I found in all the places that I've worked or studied at that they're actually excited to help, because it's pretty boring working in that department, my understanding. So that green screen was collecting dust. I just walked out. They were like, we don't even need to see your ID badge. So it was terrific, and the lighting is perfect in those rooms. So basically, we're going to show this. It's going to be very low budget, but yeah, we're going to show what it looks like when you actually have the correct lighting and the proper equipment. But I encourage you to just check in case you're interested, because I believe there is a good chance the resources are available to you just as long as you look. So let's look at a decent green screen.
Burr, son of Gopal, I summon thee.
I am here, all preceptor.
Why did thou extract this frost giant's tooth?
I wanted to save the poor creature a second visit.
Thou cannot perform such a procedure without a treatment plan.
While we wait for your approval, we fall behind for graduation.
You're an arrogant, impatient student.
And you look like the Burger King mascot.
Thou art deficient. You're deficient in pros. You're deficient in endo. You're deficient in oral surgery, and I don't even want to start on QMI. I cast you out of mouth guard, till you prove yourself worthy. Whosoever hold this toothbrush, if they be proficient, shall have the power of Burr.
And if you're wondering why that's dental, it's because UConn has medical and dental students in the same lecture, so I figured I had to throw them a bone, or a toothbrush.
All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm actually just going to get a quick shot of me running in front of the green screen right now. And then I have a nice video footage of the beach from yesterday. So we're going to get to see me running on the beach.
Chris, should we offer one of the audience members?
Yeah,
if
would
they wanna
anybody
come
else
up?
like to be running on the beach? No. Yeah,
No?
I also, you have to get down here, so it's sort of ridiculous, but here's going to be me running on the beach. And you can put yourself anywhere. Matt and I were just talking about how you can put yourself right in the middle of your laparoscopic surgery. All right, so then you get this video file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up my camera to my computer. And I already downloaded the beach scene from yesterday. And I'll take you through the real quick steps on how to get that onto your computer and overlay it with whatever you want. So here we go. Here's our beach scene from yesterday. I apologize. I'm going to drop my sound. And
So, yeah, we're going to show iMovie, and then I'll show you what it looks like on more PC kind of things.
so you go up to import, and here is my camera. No name. A lot of your cameras will come in as no name. I don't know how to name my cameras. All right, so here's the beach scene down here. All right, now so imagine it was up in an event, and I just dragged it down here. Here's our beach, and now you've got me here. Oh, that's actually me giving a lecture.
No, yours it's in there. Keep going.
You think? Oh, I put the bottom of this?
Yeah, it should be at the bottom.
Sorry, I was trying
There you
to. I actually filmed myself giving a really boring lecture from Friday. That I'm going to try to make it a little more exciting lecture. And here is me. And so the beginning of this wasn't so hot. So I'm going to find the part that was good.
You can actually crop if you want to get some of the shadows out, but it doesn't matter.
I'm going to pull this down over the beach scene. Okay? Do you see how it's sort of on top of the beach scene? And then all you have to do, and mind you, everybody, this is the new iMovie. This is the most updated iMovie. It is 100 million times better than the old iMovie. You can edit your files, and you don't have to like highlight little things and delete things anymore. Do the upgrade. There's going to be some new learning, and again, this conference, I think, is the message this year is it's all about change. I've been on some of the chat rooms and wanted to write mad things about Apple too, but once you start using the new iMovie, it's so much easier than the old one. All right, so I just went up into adjust, and then there's this little guy right here, which is called the video overlay settings, right? And you turn that on, and all you have to do is pick green, blue screen, okay? And so, like I said, there's going to be some terrible shadow here. So here's the clean video, and here I am, and it's starting to come in because the camera was figuring it out. But you can see it's in the background there. And what it's picking up on is sort of in the middle, there's the two where the doors come together, and then there's actually the two chairs, right? So you can see that shadow. And really what Matt and I were playing with last night is it needs to be this intense green. So if you're going to really shoot these, and what Matt was just getting at is when you get your ID badges, they tend to have a color behind you, usually for your position. If you can get a bright green, that's all that you need. It's just a big bright green thing that you have to get in front of. But the brighter green, the better.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the color green. It has to be a consistent color, and obviously something you're not wearing unless you want to look like the Invisible Man or woman. Your arch enemy is shadow. Not only because it makes different areas of color and whatever, but the camera actually, when it doesn't have enough light, there's noise. So then when you download that file, there's kind of graininess, which you guys saw there, which it's not gonna remove well when you use the green screen, or on Windows it's called chroma key. So let me just quick show you just what it looks like.
Right, so Matt's going to set that up.
Yeah.
And while he's doing that, don't ever do this. Don't ever unplug your video recorder while it's dealing with it. That's a big no-no. But while Matt's setting that up, we will take an excellent question.
Sure.
So my question was, you mentioned it just needs to be a consistent color. So
Yes.
can you just go low budget and get like a cloth?
Yeah.
Or sheet?
Yes, you can. Yeah, there are hundreds of YouTube videos about people getting paper. It's basically a consistent color, enough lighting, minimal shadows, and yeah, you can totally do it. So basically, what I'm going to show you now.
You could get I haven't done this, but in thinking about this, that screaming bright green construction paper, and you can just paste a few of those together. As long as you keep it, if you keep it small enough, you can at least get yourself in the shot, and then you can put yourself on any background that you want. So the bigger and the more complex, the bigger background you need. But some of that real bright screaming construction paper that you can get at like the kids' paper stores and tape some of those together with some clear masking tape, it would probably shoot very well.
So anyways, what you're looking at right now, this is Vegas. This is basically, I pulled everything up. Chroma key. So what you do is you just right-click on the video you want to add this to. What chroma key is the name for removing a specific color from a video file. It's called the same thing in Pinnacle Studio, Corel, Adobe After Effects, Vegas. So basically you're playing with the same kind of thing in the Windows suites. So what you do is you just go to Video Effects. I'm just going to make this bigger so we can all see. So it's in here, which I already pulled it up. And you go to Color. There are presets already, pure red, pure green, pure blue. The reason why they use green and blue is because red tends to occur in pigment of skin, so you can get kind of blotchiness. So we're going to go with green. So I already set everything up. So basically you remove all of that. And the good thing about some of the Windows ones, and since I can't say that iMovie doesn't do it, but there's also these threshold wheels that you can adjust to basically make things less transparent, a little sharper, and then a blur. So basically, if it's a little rough, you can make it look a little bit smoother. And then all you got to do is hit play.
Look kind of at the ceiling. There you go. You know what I'm talking about.
So yeah. All right, and again, it's really not that hard to do. You got to have just a very controlled environment with a lot of light.
And you can kind of imagine the impact of just starting off one of your grand rounds lectures on some boring subject, and you just put yourself in the most ridiculous place, appealing to your staff to do something. And so if you just sneaks a little thing like that in to your talks, it sort of re-energizes people. And the way I use video or different things in my talks is like every 15 minutes or so, throw something like this in there for 2 or 3 minutes, and people that are texting or that are falling asleep, we get a lot of that at our grand rounds, they sort of wake back up and go, oh, well, at least there's something. And then you get them for another 2 to 3 minutes after that. So it keeps waking them back up from their snooze. We only have just a pinch of time left. I'm going to quickly show you 2 quick things over here. Matt's going to show you one more, and we'll probably end it with some questions before getting into the few slides we have left. And one thing we're not going to have time to show you is how to upload things to YouTube. But YouTube actually does a really great job of having all the tutorials built in there. You just have to sign up to YouTube like you would an email account. It talks you through how to upload. It actually really explains some of their rules on copyright, and we have that built into the slides. So we probably won't have time for that, but we're happy to answer some YouTube
Absolutely,
questions.
yes.
What about Vimeo instead of YouTube?
Vimeo, so actually I use both. Vimeo is you have a more specific type of crowd. The software that they use to monitor copyrighted stuff is a little less restrictive, but that doesn't mean it's like a Pirate Bay or anything like that. My understanding is that there are some more options in terms of what kind of files and more control that you have over the actual material you upload. But it's that is a wonderful option as well. However, if you're going to go for absolute mainstream, YouTube there's no comparison. So.
You can password protect video a little bit easier than YouTube because you need an account, right?
YouTube actually has 3 separate settings. There's private, which can only be seen by people who you allow them to. Then there's unlisted, which is it's out there, and you can have the video web address. You can email that to anybody, and they can use it, so they don't have to be specifically invited. But you can't search for it. I actually now, because of my run-ins, have most of my movies as unlisted because my friends still want to see these movies. And then there's public, and public is public. So there's actually 3 levels that you have with YouTube of sharing. Real quick, and I won't go into detail on these 2 apps. So app is just the new word for a software program, but I downloaded both of these recently. And so in case you're wondering how I did sort of the computer screenshot video, I used this first thing here. It takes 2 seconds to learn how to use this, so I'm not going to actually show you how to use it, but it's called Easy Screen Record Lite. It's free. You download it. When you click on it, it opens like this, and it has this nice record button. The free version allows you to capture up to 300 seconds, which is a lot of time, and you can just keep kind of doing that. And then you just go from custom size to full screen, and now you just hit record. It gives you a little count, and then everything that you're doing on your screen, it's recording, and actually your built-in mic will pick up what you're saying. And so that's how I did the shots of iMovie. And when you're done, iMovie and GarageBand, I use this easy screen record light. And then when you're done, you hit done, and boom, it saves it as its own video file. It's actually, if you look up here, it's an MOV, which works for iMovie. But what I found was when I pulled it into iMovie, the new iMovie, it makes it red. And if you go online, there's a lot of really unhappy Apple users talking about the red death of MOV files. So then, when that was terrible, before I was coming down here thinking, oh no, what am I going to do? I went and repurchased Prism and then converted it into a MP4 file. So Prism, Prism, is, you have to buy it in euros, but it's like 32 American dollars, and it downloads directly to your computer. And what you do is you can either drag a file in off of your desktop. So here's our Best Buy footage from last night. Drag that into here. It found it. It tells you what the format is, and then you go down here and you select what you want your output. Okay, so you can see the stuff that Matt and I were sort of showing you: AVI, MP4, MOV, FLV. And so basically, you can take a file. If you send it to your friend and your friend says, "I can't get this to play on my BlackBerry," you could say, well, I wonder what kind of video file plays on a BlackBerry. Maybe it's an FLV. And so you can convert it to an FLV. It takes, about as long as the clip is to convert it. You have a new file, and now you can share that. Okay, so it's a great way to convert these things. Like I said, my laparoscopy machine gives me a file that I don't even know what it is. It's probably one of these, but I convert it to an MP4 MOV every time, and it's perfect.
There's also there's a free piece of software for PC users. It's called Hamster Soft, like the thing that runs in the wheel in the cage. I use that for all my videos. Again, your video software editing program will give you most control over saving what kind of file you want. But for the stuff that you have to import and for some of the screen capture that you have to do, it's good to have that as a backup. It also can come into play with some advanced audio editing as well, if you want things to jive up, if you don't want them in MP3, if you want them in WMV or WAV. Do we have a question?
You mentioned that it was quite useful to import full PowerPoint slides into the middle. I'm a Mac user, but is iMovie okay with that? With you just
What you have to do is you have to save, under File, you save your slides as pictures. And it'll go into a file, and each slide will be an individual JPEG, a JPG. It's a picture file, it's a still file, and you can actually just grab that still file and drag it over your project and drop it into your project. Now, just know this: every time you drop something into the project, it does Ken Burns, which is where it like zooms in or goes kind of crazy, and so then you have to go use your adjust, and then take that out and just either hit crop or fit, or else it's going to be all weird like that all the time. But yeah, you can do some great artwork. And it's sort of like my outline of my objectives. That's it. Or you just take all your PowerPoint slides, right? Let's flip the classroom. This is what I'm doing now for simplicity. I'm just filming my people while I'm actually going to start audio recording them and filming them. I'm just going to take that and overlay it over their slides, make a movie, and now my students have access to that whenever they want to. And then I can say to the person, hey, how about instead of doing your PowerPoint slides, your students actually have seen them beforehand. We give them a little quiz in the morning to make sure that they've watched your movie, and then you just print out the APGO resources for a case-based conference, and it's like free fun times. So it's not that hard to go from PowerPoint to these videos that you can share using Dropbox. Matt wants to show you one more quick thing, and then I'm going to show you our email addresses, and then happy Monday.
Okay. So say there's something on YouTube that you want to use as part of your video, and let's for I guess the purposes of now, just say that it's all clear in terms of legal, copyright, that kind of business, and we'll talk about that in just a second. How exactly is there a way to get it into your video? Yes, there is. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. There's a website called clipconverter.cc, but My preference is something called Replay Media Catcher. So basically, what I'm going to do, it's free. Basically, what you got to do is you open this software, you import, you basically turn it on, you go to whatever YouTube URL you want, and it automatically downloads it. So I'm just going to show you how simple it is actually live. So I'm going to open this up now. Okay, we're going to use one of my favorite viral videos, and it's also very, very small. Okay, so basically you click the start button here. Then you go into... Okay, we're not going to look up Old Spice here. Anybody?
So this software program's already been downloaded onto Matt's computer, and then you open it so it's running in the background, and then you go to the YouTube or whatever video playing website that you kind of have.
Yeah. Now, is anybody familiar with the Dramatic Chipmunk by any chance? Anyone? No? All right, you'll like it. It's
40
good.
million views.
Yeah, come on. Where are you guys? So anyways, yeah, that it was big a couple years back. I'm not going to say how much, but okay. So anyways, we go back down here. So as you see, it says complete. So basically, all you got to do, it's saved already to your computer as an MP3 or an MP4 file. Now, if you go in a file, you can change how you download things. So what you do is you go into Vegas, and I did this in advance, but you just import, you find where it is, and then let's just blow it up again. That's in your movie. So, and that could apply to anything that's on YouTube, either music or visual. Say you want to document a part of a procedure that you yourself it didn't roll into your OR, but you want to talk about it, so you can embed that in a video of yours, which actually is a good segue into just brief, because we're not lawyers, review of intellectual copyright as it pertains to video editing. All right, so there are 4 tenets of the Fair Use Act. What is the purpose and the character of the use? So the key word here is transformative. You need to do something with the work you are using that makes it original in its unique way. The number one way that I guess most YouTube users do is parody. So for that would be a grounds to defend the videos that I post on YouTube, and actually mine, the one we were in hasn't been flagged or anything, mainly because that's on that basis. So basically, it has to bring ridicule or observation to the original work.
Marvel will not be suing me for playing Iron Man. It's pretty obvious that we weren't really infringing on that copyright.
So speaking of which, that goes to the 4th principle. What is the effect of the market value? I'm pretty sure people would rather see the Avengers at home than Dr. Morosky and some spray painted football pads. The next one is, what is the amount? So if, for instance, you wanted to put in a little bit of a song just for just a ha-has or just a little background, less is better. So less also is related to what is the effect on the value. So less means nobody's going to open your video to listen to Taylor Swift if they wanted to listen to We're Never Getting Back Together. And then nature of the copyrighted work. So if it's fact, I mean it's like people trying to put patents on DNA. It's kind of hard to do that. So you're capturing something that exists in nature, that kind of stuff. So that is more defensible. So basically, keep that in mind when you're doing this. And then one last thing about this is specific to YouTube. YouTube has a bot that monitors all videos. It scans the first 15 seconds of your video and of any music, songs, anything in there. So if you're going to use a clip and you're assured that you're not violating any copyright law, try not to use the first 15 seconds. Not because you're trying to break a law, but because that'll not get you flagged, even if you are in the right.
And also, you won't be able to play it on mobile devices, and they also will attach advertising to your video. So that's one of the ways that YouTube has a contract with Led Zeppelin. It turns out one of my favorite music files. if you put Led Zeppelin in the right part of your movie and keep it brief, it plays. If you play it for if you play the whole song, only you and your family can watch it on your computer at home, and they advertise all over it. So thank you for your attention. I wanted to put up our email addresses. We're happy to help you troubleshoot some of these problems. If you're like video editing nerds like we are, you do have late nights where you're kind of up doing this stuff, and there is a community online. Apple has their own community. You can tell these are real nerdy people eating potato chips and drinking Mountain Dew and just sort of helping each other get through the night. But once you sort of practice some of these things and really start to incorporate them, I'm telling you, they make your lectures so much more engaging. It really wakes people up in your audience, and when you do it with the script and everything, storyboard, man, the message that you give is exactly the right one. So they're really a great, fun way to educate, and it's a great, fun way to just kind of have fun, too. All right. Thanks, everybody. What are the rest of your